enter into more niches.
All right, I'm here on the creative part. Obviously, later we can put in, like a better image here, but in his Amazon assets, since he's never done, sponsored display, it's very limited. He's got this InMotion pain cream, and I don't know what the heck where this comes from. So I believe when it says images, it's like kind of like maybe talking about these two images here. What is best to do for his image?
So usually for a situation like David's product, which is actually what we're gonna try to really focus on the videos, is all about transmitting relief, right? Because that's really the main reason why people is going for a product like this. So now how usually this can be reflected, especially on an image, it has to do with facial expressions. It could be with a facial expression of somebody doing like this or expressing relief. That's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it, it could also be, for example, from the perspective of a lifestyle image. Let's say we're targeting a competitor that is all about, I think we discussed this during the recording as well, it's all about people that do golf or do any specific sport. Then you want to show that person dress or doing that specific sport. So I would say in the case like we're going more generic now for a specific kind of competitor, I would put an image that has to do with kind of pain relief. So putting emphasis on the expression of the relief this is bringing to them.
Okay, so I'll maybe pull something from his creative assets, and then you, with Kamal later, can update this. Headline. What usually should sellers do for this headline? And where does that? Let me just try and look where that even comes out. I don't even see a headline here. So maybe it doesn't not on all.
Yeah, not all the placement you show. Usually the tagline, and this is actually something we recommend also doing, is with Helium 10, what we do is we download all the negative reviews.
Mm-hmm.
All the reviews, actually, not only negative, all the reviews of our main competitors, and then we try to reverse engineer what are the pain points, right? What is the reason why you choose a product over the other? It could be something to do with the formulation, it could be something with how easy it is to apply. And then if, let's say, the main reason why people will buy this product has to do with how refreshing they feel after they put it over the skin, then the tagline is all about that, one of the top 3 features. It could be feel refreshing after whatever. It could be a mention of one of the features. You need to be careful with claims, though. When it comes to claims, especially it has to do with medical, you cannot make any specific claims. But
cures cancer with one
yeah. But you want to keep that tagline, which is actually something I'm working with Kamal as well on the videos that have to do with, okay, yeah, that's actually I experienced with a product that I didn't like, or something like that, and then that usually should be the tagline. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna continue working on this while you're going through some of the rest of the stuff, but maybe you could look at some of his bid management rules, and I'll explain. If you can go ahead and I'll throw your screen back up here. If you hit the rules there, I'll kind of explain to you what we set up, just so that you can get some of his bids under control, and then hit the hemp master rules. And then so I'm just going to explain what we have set up. And so we added them all, all his campaigns to the right. And then if you scroll down, we have different groups of rules. So like basically we put here, hey, if it's over 250% ACOS, it's very unlikely we're going to be able to eventually get that to a decent one. So I just say, hey, you know what? Pause the targeting. And everything else, the way we kind of set it up was, all right, hey, if it's between 150 and 250, obviously that's very high, but let's just start bringing it down slowly. So I just say, hey, let's bring that down to 100, and then it's gonna the other rules will pick it up. And if you start scroll down, you'll see a lot of these are just in different chunks of ACOS, where it's like, hey, if it's between 100 and 150, bring it down to 70. If it's between 70 and 100 or something, bring it down to 60. Because for him, he's not profitable at 50% ACOS or 40% ACOS, but that's what we're targeting because he's got a product that can get into subscribe and save. And so the goal is to pay extra money to hook somebody. And then eventually, when they get on subscribe and save, he never has to pay any advertising at all. So one thing, to look at is just what you think about some of these rules. And then like at the very bottom, if it's like 10 and 15%, it's like, hey, no, bring it up, because he might be leaving money on the table. Anything that jumps out to you here that we should change or anything?
Yeah, so here, first of all, yeah, I love this kind of ruling, and I think this is something that everybody should be doing when connecting Helium 10 ads to their account, because one of the things you have to be mindful is a lot of times, a lot of these kind of keywords and things that we have to adjust, it's very difficult. I can tell you, very difficult to do manually. So you need a solution like this one to really flag most of it. And then the beauty, and then I'm sure then Bradley can touch a little bit more on that, is that then you have a log system that you can manually select, what makes sense for you, what doesn't make sense for you, which I really think is the best of both worlds. You have the human side creating all these rules, which we're going to go over today, but also having that kind of 24/7 software that's going to flag everything for you. Now, going into the rules, okay? The first thing I can see is that most of the essential kind of rules, right, have to do with ACOS, right?
Yes.
And I have a bit of a kind of feedback when it comes to that. Now, it's good because it allows you to control essentially spend and allows you to adjust bits here and there. Mm-hmm. But let's be honest, especially in situation like David, that we need to push for organic ranking, most of the decision also has to be done essentially focusing on the CTR, right, which is a conversion rate, right, that these keywords are having. Because especially when we have a look at brand analytics, right, and I'm going to show you here, so I think actually people can see the drop-down menu, so you guys can see essentially the drop-down menu here of the options. If all the focus has to do with the ACOS, that means most of the adjustment we're doing on the account is being driven from a profitability point of view. But let's be honest, when we're looking for ranking, most of the time the decision are not going to be profitable. It has to do with pushing certain keywords so we can position ourselves organically. So some of the rules I will create as well is, if you ask me, it will be down to essentially a CTR. I really would like to understand how some of my keywords are converting, and then I will do this by creating baselines based on what Helium Team and Brand Analytics together tell me in terms of what is the baseline, right? Comparing against some of my main competitors across some of my main keywords, because then that would create a baseline. Okay, what kind of CTR I need to be in between, right, to make sure that then on Amazon Eyes I'm converting high enough so I keep a consolidated organic ranking. Yeah.
All right. Good. So what kind of things do you optimize for? What do you think would be best? Which of these are you going for impressions? Are you going for ROAS, spend?
Yeah. So I would say at the beginning situation like David, I will definitely have some ACOS here in place, but the ACOS one will be more from essentially to create a contingency plan for things to get out of control, but which will be 100, 200 plus kind of ACOS. But at the lower tier, I would like to focus more on things such as you mentioned, impression, how much impression share I'm getting on certain keywords, my conversion rate, understanding how that's essentially aligned with what I've seen brand analytics and what some of my main keywords are doing. And then the other thing I would like to also be very mindful here, specifically when it comes to the keywords, is also the click side of things. Because some of the things, and you could also do this with impression. At the end of the day, that's the beauty of these rules. You can really map this as you want, but clicks is an easy way to do it, because especially on David account, a non mistake aside, you have too many keywords that actually could be very relevant for you, but there's not necessarily enough rules that will, for example, cover you for keywords that are having almost no clicks. That means we're not being aggressive enough with certain bits, or we're not, sometimes you're not even indexing, you're not even ranking, and if you don't have a rule that has to do with the clicks, then those keywords are gonna be left forgotten forever. So those are some of the things high level I will do.
Okay. What else? Any other homework for us to work off camera on advertising for David's account?
Yeah, so another thing which we already mentioned, sponsor brand, sponsor display is a big thing. I mean, just to show you very quickly here, if we have a look at the distribution of spend, only sponsor products, and we definitely need to divert some of that essentially towards sponsor brand, sponsor display. Another thing as well, which actually going back to the rules, I saw is that I see that most of the essentially kind of rules have to do with essentially adjusting bids, right? But I
Yes.
don't necessarily see a rules that have to do with a negation, right? Now, this is important, especially because in the case of David, he has a lot of most of the spend was happening on campaigns such as Broad and Auto. So something to be mindful is sometimes posting a term is not only a solution, especially on keywords like that, because if you have a keyword, and I'm gonna make you so I can make a graphical for everybody watching the episode. If you post one keyword, that doesn't mean the search term cannot be ramified from another keyword, right? For example, let's say that rule will post CBD roller, then the same search term that's wasting you a lot of money could come from CBD roller, as an example, right? So sometimes posting is not only solution, also negation has to happen of that specific from an exact perspective, and that's something that also on the ruling is missing. So also some negation will be.
Go to the top. There actually are some negative rules, and you like you to look at it to see. All the way at the top. Let's or exit out of this page actually, and go to negative targeting.
Okay.
And I mean, this is just a whole bunch of. Let's
I
see. Roll on auto negative. Go to that one. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah, just one of those. And let's see what he has here. We have some of his auto campaigns, and then scroll down. So here we have, hey, clicks 20, sales 0. Now this is always a subjective thing where many people have different thresholds. Some people do it on spend without sales. Some people do it on clicks. What would you suggest for David? Should it be on spend? Should it be on spend and clicks? And then if so, what should those numbers be?
Yeah, usually I would say, at least from my experience, spend is better, because going back to the economics, you at the end of the day need to set up a budget for exploration. Like you need to say, okay, and we need to spend X amount of money to acquire a customer or discover a keyword. So if that budget is $20, $30, then that should be your roof for spending for a keyword, right? If that's the case, I would go from a spend perspective. If then that's not the case and your decision is more driven in things such as, a conversion, ACOS, and all of that, then again, it's just a different way of formulating. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the budget you want to allocate to this. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, David, what this is Amazon will show you for a whole bunch of keywords, like especially if you're telling Amazon, hey, show me for this keyword, and you could get hundreds of dollars of clicks and no sales, showing that it's probably not a good keyword for you, but Amazon will gladly take your money. Like, oh no, we'll keep you told us to do it. Hey, well, we'll do it. I'm sorry, and we're funding Jeff Bezos' next yacht. So by setting these negative rules, it's like, all right, hey, there's got to be a cutoff, because eventually, like, hey, if you get 30 clicks or 50 clicks on a keyword with 0 sales, the odds that the 51st or 52nd or 53rd click is going to result in a sale is very low.
There is a time to give up, right?
Exactly. So that's what Vincenzo's talking about here, is where do we draw that line?
Right.
Yeah. And I would say another thing, which I think has also to do with negation, but in the opposite, in terms of migration, like something I can see here also in rules, which is good, but we need to make sure that then this is also practically monitored, is the harvesting into moving some of this keyword to exact match. So for example, we have an exact match campaign, which is the third one most spending campaign, that's having an ACOS of around 22%, which is very good. So I would like to see essentially, because some of these rules are not deployed across all the campaigns, or we need to also create a lot of new campaigns, so we need to be mindful of that. But something that we need to make sure is on the mix is this rule, because at the end of the day, we create all these new phrase, broad and auto, and we're not doing this harvesting. It's also a waste of opportunity, because some of them are going to become your hero keywords probably. Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing, I think this was the first thing you mentioned, was you notice a lot of his campaigns had too many targets.
Yes.
What would be a good number? Because we'll do that off camera, where some of those ones where it's too many, we'll just start breaking it out a little bit. What should he cap the campaigns at? How many targets per?
So usually I would advise that, from experience, no more than 10 keywords. Ideally, I do even 5.
Got it.
because as I said, I audit hundreds of accounts, and usually the same phenomenon happens. If you have more than 10 keywords, usually the top 5 get all the spend, and then it's a significant drop on spend. So it just seems like when the actual system cannot really handle real budget allocation based on the search volume kind of discrepancy you have between search terms. So that's why 5 to 10, and then I will test. If I see that even with 5 they still want to taking most of the spend, I will then isolate that keyword to make sure it doesn't suppress the other one.
Okay. All right, cool.
Interesting.
So yeah, David, a lot of this stuff I know is like another foreign language here, because it was like that for me when I first started getting into Amazon. I'm like, man, I don't want to touch all this, like what's ROAS and ACOS and like what the heck is all the manual targeting, is like sponsored displays, all this terminology, but that's why there's tools like Helium 10 ads, because it kind of like makes it a lot simpler. Back in the day,
I don't.
all this stuff, you'd be downloading spreadsheets left and right.
I don't get all the acronyms that you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
But the overall philosophy, I think I've got that, and that makes sense. And you guys know how to implement that. But,
yep.
Yeah.
Anything else for David in this episode here, Vincenzo?
And I would say the last one, which is also something that I will be also interested to explore. Funny enough, I saw that on some of his campaigns, and I'm going to show this from the dashboard perspective. I saw some of his campaigns. He started to get Amazon Business sales, right? And it's actually interesting because this actually...
What does that mean?
So that means essentially somebody with a business account is buying from you. Usually business account means you need to have like an entity in the United States. But the reason why this could be a hidden opportunity for you is like, especially with a product like yours, it could be like small shops across the United States, or a football team needs to buy in bulk, right? Or they need to expense this as an activity or whatever, right? And they will use Amazon Business because from an invoicing perspective, that's how they can then claim that in terms of within their accounting and everything. So this is something that we can actually also be more aggressive with the bid adjustment, because I saw on some of your campaigns, you are getting good ROAS from an Amazon Business, and be mindful that this means that your bids are going to be different when somebody's logged from an Amazon Business account. And most people, I can say, because I say this every single day, they don't even have a clue that this exists. So this is something we could exploit, and combining that with an aggressive business price, we could spike conversion as well.
So I always think of that as if I want to buy components to produce something and somebody in Amazon sells them, I can get some benefit of buying. This is people actually buying the finished goods for some reason.
Like it could be a gym or something, or a personal trainer who uses his LLC to buy on Amazon in bulk, because actually if they have Amazon Business selected, I don't use Amazon Business, but then so maybe even we should have we should look at, outside of advertising, his business price, right?
Yes. For sure. That's something we try to always do with our brands. We'll make sure that we always have an aggressive pricing with a business, because that creates two things. The first thing is that usually people can see the difference in pricing if they buy with the business account. And the second thing is incentivized for people to go in bulk, right? Because it pushes like the fact that they get a bigger discount, especially if you combine the business pricing with also stacking pricing. Stacking will be buy 2 and get 1% off, 3 and buy 5% off. And then that can push for bulk orders, which could be very good for you as well.
Okay, so he does, have some bulk SKUs here. We don't advertise too much, but even just his regular SKU, we can see here this section that says business price and then set. So if its regular price is $31.47, only ASINs with 4-star ratings are eligible. Well, this is 4-star, is it not? Let's take a look. 4.3. Why is it saying that it's... Blue
badge. Sorry, yeah. So that means that's another thing. A business requires you to have a discount that's actually realistic and real. So they will give you what is the minimum. In this case, $29.89. And as soon as you put that,
there we go.
It will show the badge. And as I said, the good thing of that, I do even that I do that all the time. When I'm shopping on Amazon, I see a product that has the business badge. The first thing I do is then switch to my business account because I know I can buy this product cheaper if I buy it through the company, as an example, right? So that's something that could drive a lot.
Even if it's just something you need for your personal, if you see that because you have a business account.
Yeah, if you have a business and an entity that then, you can buy through the entity because you can justify why you're buying this through the company. You can, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he could have been losing sales potentially because let's say his competitors had the business pricing, and then when somebody switches to the Amazon business filter or whatever, how it looks on their search results, they saw that the other ones had the discount, but he didn't. He probably was losing those sales to the other roll-ons and products. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So there we just made in the last 2 minutes another impact that's probably going to increase. It's not going to that's not going to be the main part of doubling his sales.
No, but it's
all these
there.
little things we're doing is
everything is impactful. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's there. Why not take advantage of it? Right.
There we go. So a little bit of outside advertising. All right. So Vincenzo, we've got a lot of work to do off camera here to kind of optimize some of these campaigns, and we'll do it all together once we get Kamal's video and image assets in, and yeah, like even just on some of the stuff we did today where his budget is running out earlier in the day, that's going to increase his sales as well. So very excited to see the increases we're going to make on advertising, because I think some people out there, they think, oh, the only way to make more money on Amazon, and we are doing these things, is by like launching new products and things like that. But no, even on the existing stuff you have, there's all these tweaks that we can make that are going to add up and give a big impact. Now, I don't know if you knew this, Vincenzo, but David's actually been worried lately. The stuff we've done so far has his sales so far up. He might run out of stock again. So he's working.
That's a good issue to have.
Yeah, I mean, I trended for 5 years and knew exactly when to order and what to do. And then you guys screwed it up. So
now you need to go back to the drawing board and figure everything out from again.
I'm pushing my supplier like crazy every day. Yep. Okay. It's good.
All right. Thank you very much for your help, Vincenzo and David. We got a lot of work to do. We'll see the rest of you guys in the next episode.